Hello friends and welcome to Pathologic Volume 8, Episode 34. Today's bonus puzzle is a U-turn, so let's remind ourselves what that's all about as we take a look at the rules. U-turns is a line drawing puzzle, wherein we will draw a non-intersecting path through the centers of some cells, which passes through every white circle and no black circles. So we can see in this example solution that there is a single line. Does not have to go through every square in the grid, as some of these puzzles would force us to, and it needs to go through all the whites and avoid all of the blacks. Blacks are essentially walls in this puzzle. Gray circles mark the ends of the path, so we have our start and our end as given points. Between each pair of circles the path uses, the path must turn exactly twice, and both turns must be in the same direction. So we can't go directly from one circle to the next, nor can we only turn one time, or more than two times, exactly twice. So for example here, we're turning left, and we're turning left again, both in the same direction. We're not allowed to make an S shape. And you can see here's another left, left, or right, right, depending on your perspective. Those are the rules of U-turns, so it's time to solve a puzzle. Today's U-turns puzzle was set by Tyrgannus. We are given the starts and ends of the path, and to pass through the whites and no blacks. So it would be interesting to see if we could figure out something like, does the path go through this tunnel or not? And these, because we've got these right at the edges. That's going to be interesting. I can tell that the path doesn't go west from here because it couldn't make a U-turn before hitting a circle. So that's not where it goes. If we went east, we would be going south and then west to one of these. South seems okay as well. But this one, we're going to have to enter and exit those ways now because this has become a dead end. So that's good, because that means this doesn't go south, because if it went south, it would have to go west and we wouldn't have our U-turn. So this goes east, south. Still might turn west to go there. I find that likely. This is going to have to turn twice, and the first turn will have to be the east. That's going to be, well, I was going to say it's going to be a problem, but maybe not. Maybe you could go this far and be okay. That isn't giving me what I need. Let's see if we can get any traction on the other gray circle. We can't go east. It's a dead end. If we went west, we have to turn north before we hit the circle. And then we have to turn again, and that turn has to be in the same direction. And there are no white circles to find over there. So this doesn't go west. This goes north. That's something at least. And it's going to have to either go west and then turn south into this circle. Or if it keeps going north, it's going to have to turn. There's not room to go east. And if it goes west, it's still going to have to turn into that circle, because otherwise it hits this circle too soon. So it does one of these two things. By uniqueness, we know it's going to have to be the one where it takes up less space, but we haven't really proved that through conventional means, so I'm just going to say it does one of those two things. Either way, it comes down to here and has to keep on going, which is not going to be east, because that's going to be trapped with either of those loop solutions. So it goes west. This has got to turn north and then turn east, which I bet's going to be here. That was... okay, so we can't go straight from a circle to another. So that gives us a couple tunnels that we can draw in. That's good. Gives us a corner here. The one that goes east will have to turn south, because north would make a loop too soon. So it goes south, and then west all the way to there, or down here and west all the way to there. Does one of those two things. The top end of it can't go east. It's going to have to go west. And that means this is a corner. It's going to have to go west. We've got both of these U-turns done. Then if this goes west, that's going to be a problem because it can't keep going west. It would be an S shape, not a U shape. And if it turns south, it's going to have to turn east, and there's no circle defined there. So this doesn't go west. This goes south. These are all very hard-fought realizations, which makes me think I'm probably forgetting some lemmas we found or just have never found them in the first place. So, what can we... Okay, we already know this connects over here. Because there are things that seem obvious to me that I can't quite prove. It seems obvious to me that these two are going to connect, because otherwise it's going to take up more space than it can, and because we know this has a solution, everything is going to have to be tightly packed. What can this do? Let's say this turned west. Then it would have to turn north and hit a white circle, which it could do right there. Annoying, because I think that might be right. If it keeps going, does that cause a problem? We can't go east, because then we're at best going to make the loop going to make a loop. We don't have loops in this one. Or west and then north. That's not happening. If it keeps going, can't turn. If it keeps going, then it could. Ugh. Yeah, it could go very far down here and do something like that, or the other direction. So that's not going to be of any help. Can we prove that this doesn't keep going, or that it connects to this one way or the other? If it keeps going straight, then it can't go straight any further because it's got to turn twice. If it went east, then it could connect to this, but can't do anything else. If it went west, not allowed to connect here, and there's nowhere else to turn. Okay, so that, I think, proves that either these connect directly or they connect like that. What can I do with that information? I don't even know how to mark that. But these two are connected, so these two are opposite ends of a single strand. It does mean that they don't connect to each other, but I don't think they could anyway. If this, and we know this goes with this one, this has to turn to one of these three. So we're going to have to prove that it's one of them in particular in order to progress. This is quite a difficult puzzle, it seems. Unless I am being a complete dingus, and then you'll tell me that in the comments. All right, so what can we rule out? What do I think is most likely? And then I'll see if I can rule the other thing out. That's my kind of last-ditch effort when I'm really stuck. I think it is most likely for this to come all the way down and then over like this, because I think we're going to use this tunnel. So let's I'm going to make some weird marks here just to remind myself that this is the cell where I started doing weird stuff. So I'm going to keep going straight. This is just to prove that this is not going to work. And turn west, and that takes me over to here. No, I'm not going to do that. I am going to do... That's what I think actually does happen. I'm going to do the thing that I don't think happens. So that's turn here, which would mean that it goes straight all the way to this one. Does that break stuff? I think it's going to break stuff. So this turns west. Does it break stuff up here? This turns west, and we'll have to turn north to hit a circle, which it does. No, it doesn't break stuff up there. This would have to keep going, turn, and turn again here, which forces this to this one. Uh-oh. This might be... Is this the problem? Can we not do this? No, this is looking like it is a solution. So I guessed wrong. I think, because I think that will take me to a solution. So we'll come back to that if I'm right, and we're going to try the other thing that I originally had guessed was the correct solution. So if this comes down like this, comes over to this, then how does that break stuff? In that case, this could go west, and that would be okay. That's all it could do, because if it went north, we're definitely stuck there. So it would go west. We know these can connect. This one... I mean, this seems okay-ish as well. We could do the exact same thing up here. This is all speculation, which isn't the way I like to solve these, but I'm just... oh, we couldn't do that because then we cut off these middle circles. Maybe that's the point. Okay. We know these two are connected. For sake of argument, I'm going to connect these two. If this turns west, which I believe it does, it has to go all the way over there. That's fine. This part's done. And then these three have to be part of the picture. If this doesn't turn west, if it keeps going, then it will have to keep going at least this far and turn into one of these two. This one is going to be an issue. Is it? Turn. I'm not sure it is. No, this can't keep going then, because that forces this situation, and then this one is stranded. Okay, what were my ifs that led me there? If we connect this circle to that circle, that's what happens. Okay, so if we connect this circle to that circle, which we could do this way or that way, either way, this can't come all the way over here anymore. It's got to go down here. Well, so that actually tells us it would be this one if in that hypothetical. This comes over here, strands this circle. So, okay, undo all the way back to the hypothesis, which was that this comes down and connects to this one. If instead it comes down and connects over here, which is the other possibility, then it's probably some kind of parity argument. We have 1, 2, 3 endpoints in here. We'd have to come through there. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 endpoints, which would be great if we were making a loop, but we're not. One of those endpoints is actually the end of a path. So this is a contradiction. Whoa, Nelly. Okay, so this can't come down further. It has to connect over here. That is what we've proven, although in not a way that made me particularly happy, because that was quite a bit of look ahead. But we have to push on because this puzzle needs to get solved. So in this tunnel, we're going straight through. We have to turn on this end. This has got to turn again to hit a circle, and it can't go down here. It goes here. And this one can't go up here anymore. It goes here. This, okay, this is going straight, and it's got to turn twice. If it turned here, it could do that, but that would make a loop prematurely. It could do that, but then that strands this one. So it keeps going. Same deal. Still can't connect to that one. It goes at least this far. Can't turn into that. Goes at least that far. If it went, so it could go further and connect up here. And in fact, we are pretty sure we know that that's what happens. But we'll pause right there because it could also come down here. This has to turn. We've finally got that hooked up. And let's see what happens if this comes and meets that. That's now the question. We know that these two connect. If this comes down here, then this has to keep on going through, has to turn. Then we have connected the start to the end without doing these middle bits. So there's our, this doesn't come south, this goes east, connects up there. Now that we've done that, this, so we've got to get to this circle. How do we prove which way that happens? I think I know which way that happens. If this went west, it's got to go south. It's got to turn south. It's got to turn again to go east. There's no circles there to hit. So this is a corner like so. This end of it turns south, and so it's going to have to turn west to find a circle. This is the only place where that can happen. This has got to turn east. This has got to turn west, and then we'll turn north right there. So I would be very interested in hearing from you in the comments if you have seen some sort of nicer logic that I could have used in the middle there where I got stuck and had to do some extensive look ahead and trial. I do believe that this does still count as a logical solution with all that in mind. So I can still say that that is how we solve a U-turns.